for your help and your support. We also have Kristen Obi, and Truth Pound sharing the stream. Stand with a Beer, thank you so much for sharing the stream. And we also have Doris, thank you so much, Doris. And Melody Kelly, thank you so much for sharing the stream. Phantom Legend, and also Chicken Mom, thank you so much for sharing the stream on social media. And Sharon, thank you so much, Sharon. We also have The Watcher sharing the live stream on social media. And we have Patty Q sharing the stream. And the Ventilator Maga Q45, thank you so much for sharing the stream. Box of Frogs, once again, thank you so much for your support. Barbara Hathaway, thank you so much for sharing the stream. All right, folks, I'll be back on the microphone in just a few moments to give shout-outs to everyone that is following us on Twitter at Gold State Times.
Cerule is determined to get 1 million customers by the end of 2021.
All right, folks, so we have new members today, and we would like to welcome them and also thank every single one that has been helping us through Super Chat. You guys are amazing, and we'd like to thank you so much for your help and your support. I'm trying to get to everyone that shares the live stream, everyone that follows us on Twitter, but now we're going to give shout-outs to everyone that is helping us out through Super Chat. We're going to start off with Renee P., Cannabis Cuisine, Patrick Fallon, thank you so much for your support through Super Chat. Lionheart, thank you so much for your support.
Beth and I, like thousands of others, have seen the results, the reduction of the aches and pains of aging. The product works, not for everyone, but for most people. If you want to get started in an easy home business, Ray has 25 vouchers for $50 off your first purchase, but only the first 25 people. Click on the link in the description box below. That's thestillreport.com/stemcell, and leave Ray your phone number, or just call Ray direct at 517-214-4460.
David Rush, thank you so much, David.
Good afternoon. I'm still reporting on the coup. President Trump has asked the White House Budget Office to redirect all monies going to the World Health Organization to groups that perform similar relief work, such as the Red Cross and Samaritan's Purse. According to the New York Post, the initial announcement by the White House was that the suspension of funding would be for an initial 60-day period. However, since the hostile reaction of the WHO, this is apparently turning into a permanent suspension of government funding. The WHO is at least partially to blame for the wild spread of the COVID-19 virus, which originated apparently from a level 4 biological warfare research center in Wuhan, China. For precious weeks, the WHO supported China's spurious claims that the virus was not spread person to person. The U.S. contributed roughly 10% of the WHO's annual budget in the form of $58 million per year. However, in addition, voluntary contributions were made by other federal government agencies such as USAID, the Environmental Protection Agency, and the Department of Health and Human Services, an additional contribution of between $300 and $400 million per year. All that money will instead be channeled to other international relief organizations that do similar work, such as the American Red Cross and Franklin Graham's Samaritan's Purse. Administration officials told the Post that it has been discovered that the WHO has an extravagant travel budget and supports controversial political projects such as climate change and abortion. The WHO's annual travel budget is about $200 million per year, dwarfing the money spent on many of its so-called health programs. For example, in 2016, the WHO spent $71 million on AIDS and hepatitis, $61 million on malaria, and $59 million on tuberculosis, according to the Associated Press. Nancy Pelosi took time off from indulging herself in her ice cream-packed freezer to call Trump's suspension of WHO funding illegal, but could not specify why it was illegal. The White House responded that there is zero legal obligation to fund the WHO. According to one White House official, it shouldn't be controversial for the U.S. to want to partner with international organizations that will actually protect international health. Other administration officials told the Post that the White House was shocked last month when China chipped in just $20 million, or 3%, to a WHO drive to raise $675 million to fund a dedicated coronavirus fund. They refused to pay even 3% into the World Fund set up to respond to the virus that their own actions caused to spread rapidly outside of their country. That's shocking and a disgrace. I'm still reporting from just outside the citadel of American freedom. Good day.
I want to give another big thank you to Don Rivera. Thanks so much, Don, for your help and your support through Super Chat. And Don says, Trump.
First time I walked through these doors, I felt like I was home. William James College is very much a community.
Professors really care about their students.
They care about the whole person.
William James College is not only a school, it's a family.
William James College's hallmark is learning by doing.
You get right into your internship the first week you start classes.
It's the ability to come in and hit the ground running.
Students are
Please, folks, make sure you take care of yourselves first. We appreciate
How long did a person's head stay alive after being guillotined?
But we want to make sure that you are being
Beheading as a form of execution has been around for centuries. By 1792, during the time of the French Revolution, it had become a highly efficient and quick form of execution in the shape of the now famous guillotine. King Louis XVI himself signed the bill that made the guillotine the official method of execution. The guillotine was a tall wooden structure first used in revolutionary France for beheading someone using a heavy slanted blade that suddenly dropped down a set of vertical grooves. It would usually chop the condemned person's head off in one clean action, whereupon the severed head would unceremoniously drop into a basket below. Dr. Joseph Ignace Guillotine, who it was named after, claimed that the guillotine made execution as painless as possible. However, later on the device was also known as Madame la Guillotine, La Dame, the Lady, La Veuve, the Widow, Le Rasoir National, the National Razor, and Louis VII. But was the execution by it truly painless? There is a famous story about the execution of Charlotte Corday by the guillotine in 1793 during the French Revolution. Just after she had been beheaded, a member of the crowd leapt forward and slapped poor Charlotte across the face to see if she was still conscious. It's reported that her face then blushed at the indignity of being slapped. There are even stories of how heads blinked after being guillotined. Antoine Lavoisier was a French scientist at the height of the French Revolution in 1794. He was condemned to death during the Reign of Terror and supposedly agreed to blink after his head was guillotined as one last experiment for science. His servants noted that Lavoisier blinked up to 15 seconds after the execution. Though there are many stories like this claiming that lucid decapitation or consciousness exists momentarily after beheading, and though these stories are based on real people and real events, they are most likely exaggerations or anecdotes that have become embellished over time by countless retellings. However, it's often been wondered by scientists how long the head keeps on functioning after it's been guillotined from the body. One of the chief reasons for the introduction of the guillotine was that it was deemed to be very humane, but some factions in the medical community were seriously questioning this. Dr. Samuel Thomas Sommering theorized that in fact, full 50 guillotine, and therefore the suffering was worse than death by hanging. But Dr. Jean Célido, a leading pioneer of modern argued that the difference between killing a person or a butcher killing an animal by severing its head resulted in the same effect, immediate death and total end of life. Others, such as Pierre-Jean-Georges Cabanis, argued that victims did not suffer once guillotined because the nape of the neck is where death can be caused instantly in people and animals. The twitches and the severed heads were, in his opinion, purely mechanical muscle movements without consciousness.
So
there have been many well-documented cases of animals like chickens, cockroaches, frogs, snakes, and praying mantises surviving for a long period of time after they've been decapitated. For example, there are many accounts and videos of rattlesnakes that have been beheaded and still have been able to bite people with their head.
Sorry, I don't make enough.
Because the guillotine was used in France all the way up until 1977. There's been scientific research carried out using more advanced methodology on actual guillotined human heads. It has been widely reported that sometimes you will see some eye and mouth movements from a guillotined head, but today scientists are mostly convinced that this is just involuntary reflex actions that linger on in the aftermath. But still doubt and conflicting reports linger about this whole issue. One of the most compelling accounts of consciousness being said to still exist for a significant amount of time after being guillotined was in 1905. Henri Languille was executed by the device in Orleans, France. Dr. Gabriel Bourriaud observed that the decapitated head was still twitching. When he called out the man's name, his eyes looked upwards and stared directly at the doctor. It was claimed that this lasted for between 25 to 30 seconds. Though later, in 1939, the Journal of the American Medical Association thought Bourriaud was exaggerating his account of what happened. Other witnesses that had been present at the execution said life only seemed to last for a maximum of 10 seconds, and that the man's reactions were less pronounced. Today, scientists agree that once the victim is guillotined, the separated head and the body dies from a combination of things: shock, blood loss, loss of blood pressure, and anoxia, which is the total depletion of the level of oxygen within the body. The separated body, as such, lives for about another 60 seconds until the heart finally stops beating. As for the decapitated head, scientists say that it can technically have enough oxygen stored for metabolism to continue for about 7 seconds, though parts of the body may live on for a very short time after being guillotined. The catastrophic effect of being decapitated means that any consciousness will be extinguished almost instantly. So for about 2 to 3 seconds, the brain may still be functioning, but any intelligence would be in a fixed, unresponsive, comatose state, unaware of anything.
exposing the
But there
World
has
Health
still not been
Organization.
conclusively proven evidence one way or another if consciousness really remains significantly after decapitation. Maybe in time we'll find out what really happens in those short moments before life is
Thank you so much
extinguished.
to 78 Stinkin. Thank you so much for your help and your support through the emoji super chat. And we also want to
Hello,
give a
Simple
big thank
History
you back to
fans.
work.
Don't
Thank you
forget
so
to
much back to work. And it says, Ponyboy and Jen are true patriots. Well, thank you so much for your help and your support, Patriot. We have back to work and 78 Stinkin. Thank you so much for your help.
Are we talking tornadoes again, Drake?
Yeah, we are talking about tornadoes, flash flooding too. Don't count those out. Flash flooding goes through here. I think that's gonna happen. And here's what's
Now
happening.
that's just over about an hour ago.
And what's
Jackson, Mississippi. That looks bad.
Lafayette.
Lafayette, Louisiana,
Yeah.
and New Orleans.
Yeah.
But so where you got it real red, that's tornado zone. Those are warnings. I mean, so there's tornadic activity going on there right now. Look, from Houston, we've got a problem. Okay, so from Houston to all the way across there, you can see it, folks. Birmingham, Alabama. Well, that's on up a little.
Yeah.
Well, they're going to get the storm. It's headed their way. That's right.
It looks like it's gonna head right
Through
It's
Jackson.
gonna head right through the three amigos. From Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia.
All right.
And it's gonna I think is gonna hit Florida a lot. Also, it's gonna hit up to South.
But right now, tonight, put that map back up there again, Brock. If the way it looks to me tonight,
We want to give a
the
thank
danger
you
zone has
to
gotta be
Olaf,
Louisiana.
Texas,
mascot,
Louisiana,
stream.
and
Make sure
Mississippi.
you guys follow us
Then, Drake,
at
as you
my
can see,
Olaf.
it's going to shoot up toward Birmingham, toward Montgomery. Mobile probably is going to feel as it goes.
All right, folks. So
And then
the
let's
lightning
show
round
the
right
next
before
map, Brock.
they
Don't you
come
have
out.
it for Drake? And that is
Hopefully we still have
tomorrow.
moments to give
The
more
next
shout-outs
map
to
shows,
everyone
Drake,
that is sharing the
What
live
do you
stream on
expect happening
social
tomorrow?
media.
Because that's the danger
Lightning
zone
round, folks. Here we
tonight.
go. Donald
There you go,
winning.
Drake.
And tomorrow, that's what it's really gonna look like. Again, it's gonna hit South Carolina. It's most likely gonna hit South
We
Carolina.
have Donald winning big lead.
Florida
Thank you
a
so
lot,
much for
too.
sharing the
Hit North
stream. We
Carolina,
also have Idaho
but
Garden
it's
Girl sharing the
Georgia.
stream.
Yeah, Georgia,
We also have
there.
Real Publicans.
It's just it's so kind of breeze past through.
And we also have ALR sharing the
So
stream.
it's,
And we have
again,
Kim
folks, you can
Jones
see-
sharing the stream.
And will this thing come to an end? I mean, you're expecting tornado, winds, flooding, flash flooding, hail,
If you guys
just
are
rain,
on social media right
lightning
now,
strikes, damaging wind.
tornadoes, and stuff like that.
And Drake, it seems like every weekend, that's just your report.
It's always in the South too.
Yeah, can you give us some better news? I mean,
All right,
tornadoes,
so we have
tornadic
Irish
activity.
So some
Assassin.
lightning's in
We also
in
have
Mexico.
Brown,
in
that box of
Lake.
frogs.
like
We also
it's
have
very
a
different.
steer.
Someplace in Mexico, right?
Laguna de
Wesley Adams
Chihuahua.
Jr.
What? That sounds like something from Taco Bell.
And also
Can I get the Chihuahua?
This is the lightning round,
Burritos
folks.
of Chihuahua and Laguna de Chichamila Cahuilas with a little sour cream, please. What happened, Drake?
So the village people woke up one day and they're like, oh, well, we need to get some water, so they came.
Did you say village people?
YMCA.
Okay, wait. What happened? They woke up and what happened?
They woke up one day, they were like, on Good Friday, and they were like, oh, well, we need to get some water for our health and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So they came there, and out of left field, still being investigated, it's pink.
Thanks so much for sharing the
It's
stream.
just
We
pink.
have
It's just
Mike
pink.
Krul.
Did you say pink?
Yep.
We even have Teresa Upchurch.
It's
We have
it's pink?
Point Global. We also
The
have
water's
Bill
turning pink?
Gray.
just, yeah, it's really out of nowhere.
Not out of your kitchen sink, folks. The water's turning pink. What? Well, the Bible talks about the water turning blood red. Okay, now this isn't blood red. It's still investigating this?
Yeah, it's still investigating.
Could it be pollution, or is it more of a algae, or is it more of a...
It's not pollution because not really any pipes are connected to it,
Robert
but
Amaral. We also
It's still
have
being
Grant
investigated.
Morton.
Very, very weird.
This could be a prophetic stream.
We also have David Mosh.
Color now, we're gonna need to watch this close to see if it turns from pink to a darker red.
Because out like on the coast of it,
Yeah.
it looks bright pink. And then if you kind of go back into the middle,
it kind of looks like it's a little bit
A little darker? Okay, so in other words, the deeper the water, the darker red the color turns. and shallow, it's a little more pinker because it's a little closer to the surface and the sun. And okay, so
We're gonna.
wow, I didn't expect to see that, Drake. Nice find.
He's really out of left field.
Yeah, I mean, but the Bible says in the last days the water will turn blood red. Okay,
Yeah.
so it's a sign of what? The coming of Jesus Christ.
Thanks so much for sharing the stream.
I mean, Drake, you gotta understand this. I mean, we're living in the times when we're gonna see tornadoes, earthquakes, volcanoes. And speaking of volcanoes, do we have a volcano?
So in Russia, so like the east coast of Russia, pretty close to Alaska, there's this volcano called the Kolensky.
Wow.
And it erupted. Oh, right in there. But it was like, yeah, my dad's gonna.
So is this over? This is in Russia. Is this over by close to
the
Alaska?
Yeah, close to the islands of Alaska. It's very close.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it's like
all
all
down there. Yeah, that's the volcano right there.
And that's before it erupted.
Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Google Maps never updates.
Yeah.
I'd like to begin by saying that we're continuing to negotiate with the Democrats.
It could always be weak. Wouldn't that be insane if they had live feed everywhere? Well, you know
Taken
that
care
can
of.
happen.
I think we
You don't you think the military's already doing it? There's a picture of us folks right there.
could happen. A lot of good
That's
work has been going on. And we
crystal
could
clear.
have an answer.
Wow.
And we're going to see what exactly does take place. We're also looking at helping our hospitals and our rural hospitals who have been hurt very badly. The rural hospitals for a long time have not been treated properly. We're looking to help them and beyond. So we're looking at hospitals also as part of the package. And we'll see how that all comes out. But a lot of good things are happening. Some very good negotiations. Just got off the phone with the Secretary of the Treasury. And we have some very good negotiations going on right now. And I think you could have a nice answer tomorrow, but we'll see. America continues to make steady progress in our war against the virus. As of today, we've tested 4.18 million Americans. That's a record anywhere in the world. The United States has now conducted more total tests than all of the following nations combined: France, the United Kingdom, South Korea, Japan, Singapore, India, Austria, Australia, Sweden, and Canada. And our testing is expanding very rapidly by millions and millions of people. So we've done more testing than all of these countries combined: France, United Kingdom, South Korea, Japan, Singapore, India, Austria, and Australia, Sweden, and Canada. That's something, right? Doing a great job. This team is an incredible team. And that includes Army Corps of Engineers, a lot of our military people, our admirals, our generals. Kind of one of our great admirals here has done an incredible job. You haven't slept too much in the last 2 months either. Look at him. But somebody said to me, "President, you look tired." I said, "I should be tired. We should all be tired, but we have to win, right?" Tomorrow, the vice president will lead a call with our nation's governors from FEMA headquarters, Mike, to review what more they could do and do together to develop locally tailored testing strategies. Working very hard with governors now on testing. We're going to help them out. Before the call, we'll send them a full list of all of the large laboratory machines in the states. They have a lot of machinery in the states that some aren't that aware of, but they're there, and they're really high quality machines, by the way. And the potential capacity of those machines, if they're fully utilized. A couple of them didn't know that they could be utilized in a different manner. They're only up to 10%, and they can go 90% more. Many governors are still relying on their state laboratories rather than the full and much larger capacity that is available to them. As an example, commercial laboratories such as Quest and LabCorp. These are massive laboratories that can handle a lot more than they're being sent. A few days ago it was at 30%. They're only at 30% capacity now. I don't know, probably the same, but they have a lot of capacity. In addition, academic laboratories, big research labs. There's tremendous capacity out there. And some of them want the fast, the instant Abbott machine, which just came about due to the research during this little short period of time, and it's very quick. But these labs can do it very quickly also, and they're massive. They can handle much more than the small machine can handle. We continue to procure millions of swabs, test collectors. I have something here, just happen to have it. It's a swab. Looks innocent, not very complicated. Anybody like to see what it looks like? Should I open it? Does everybody? Open it up. I will. This is what it's about, right? Does it remind you of something? It reminds you of this, right? One's a swab, one's a Q-tip. It's actually different. It's very sophisticated, actually, but it's a little bit like, so this is the swab. And we've ordered a lot of them. They have a lot of them. Some of them, some of the states, they were shipped to states, and the states don't know where they are. And but that's it. Why don't we give this to Karen? Perhaps she'll take an extra test. Right? But this is a big deal, and we're working on it, and we're working with the companies. And I think in the end, we're going to have a tremendous success. Nobody is close to us. No country is close to us. In fact, and I appreciate it very much, the Wall Street Journal wrote a fantastic piece, a highly respected gentleman, Christopher DeMuth, and this piece was just in the Wall Street Journal, weekend edition, and Trump rewrites the book on emergencies. That's what's happened, too. And we just read one paragraph. He's given pride of place to federalism and private enterprise, lauding the patriotism and proficiency of our fantastic governors and mayors, meaning I do call them fantastic when it's appropriate, and our incredible business leaders and genius companies. I guess I probably use those terms too when they're doing a good job. When they're not doing a good job, I don't use those terms. Our heroic doctors and nurses and orderlies and our tremendous truckers, they have all done good jobs. By shouting out many of them by name and documenting their deeds on a fully daily basis, he has vivified the American way in action. Once it was reluctantly aroused. It was hard to get it aroused, and it is hard to get it aroused, but we got it aroused. When asked why he has not issued orders for nationwide home and business lockdowns, he has emphasized that the intensity of the epidemic varies widely and is best met by calibrated state and local judgments. That's the judgments of governors and local people. And added pointedly that such steps would conflict with the Constitution. But very importantly, he's just a very respected gentleman. To see this was a very nice feeling. Not for me necessarily, but for all of the people that have worked with us. I mean, they've worked so hard, and we've developed tests that are so fantastic. We've come up with things that nobody had ever heard of, and we did it during this pandemic. We did it under pressure. It's called reaction under pressure. It's pretty amazing what our people have done, and that includes all of our military people and our CDC, just about everybody you can imagine, including Tony and Deborah. And they work long hours. There's nobody that's getting a lot of sleep. We're close to finalizing. I want to thank the writer, Christopher, of this article, and it's a great article. That was, frankly, the least of it, what I read. It was a great article. We appreciate it. We're close to finalizing a second partnership through which a U.S. manufacturer would convert its existing plant to produce over 10 million additional swabs per month. And we should be ready to announce this in a very short period of time. We also are going to be using, and we're preparing to use, the Defense Production Act to increase swab production in one U.S. facility by over 20 million additional swabs per month. We've had a little difficulty with one, so we're going to call in, as we have in the past, as you know, we're calling in the Defense Production Act, and we'll be getting swabs very easily. Swabs are easy. Ventilators are hard. Ventilators are a big deal, and we are now the king of ventilators. We have so many ventilators. You know, I said nobody that needed a ventilator has been turned down. It's pretty amazing. Nobody. We're working with the world-class team at Oak Ridge National Laboratory to use its injection molding capacity to potentially produce over 10 million collection tubes per week. That's tremendous numbers. In the meantime, the supply chain and logistics task force continues to surge testing and needed supplies all throughout America. Mike's team and the task force, they just met. They've been meeting virtually every day. And it's a great team. Right? It's a great team. They've been doing a great job, Mike. You've been doing a great job. Many governors are doing this incredible work, and they're working with us very closely on testing and working in their states. And again, it should be a local thing because it's all these points within a state. But we're helping them a lot, and we want to help them a lot. We're going to help them more than a lot, actually, if you think about it, with what we've done. Think of it, we've done more than all those countries combined. We're encouraging them to share their successful strategies with other governors. Some of the governors are doing a better job than others. The robust capacity that we've brought online will empower governors to deploy sophisticated strategies so they can safely reopen their states. Some people believe in testing very strongly, and other people believe in it less strongly, but still it's a very good thing to have. I think we can say that. Some people believe in it like they can't exist without testing, and other people don't believe in it nearly as much. They can see how they're doing, and they feel how they're doing. And they've been pretty vocal about that. I think you know pretty much who I'm talking about. But I believe if they want it, we should give it to them and get it for them and work with them. You must remember that the governors wanted to have total control over the opening of their states, but now they want to have us, the federal government, do the testing. And again, testing is local. You can't have it both ways. Testing is a local thing, and it's very important. It's great, but it's a local thing, and we're going to get it done to a level in a very short period of time, because all of the swabs are coming in, all of the necessary materials. A lot of them, as I said, are already there, but a lot of people don't know that yet. But we'll be doing testing at a level. Already we're doing testing at a level nobody's ever done before, but we'll be doing testing at a level that the biggest tester in the world will be very happy very soon. And it's very much like ventilators. You don't hear the word mentioned, and that's much tougher when you have to build these machines. We built thousands of machines. We'll more than help the governors, and we'll make sure that everything goes well, just like it did with ventilators, just frankly like it did with face masks, on a much easier subject as face masks. Again, everything's easier than a ventilator. Ventilators are tough. But now, I spoke yesterday with the president of Mexico and with various other countries. We're going to be helping them with ventilators. We have tremendous numbers of ventilators. In fact, I understand that Governor Cuomo is going to be sending up to Massachusetts some of the excess ventilators that we were able to get, and that's great. I think it's a great thing. The number of new hospital admissions is also significantly down. When you look at these numbers, it's a good thing to see, other than the fact that we also know how people have been just ravaged by this curse, by this horrible scourge, plague, call it. It's got many different names. In many of the hotspots, including a 50% decline over a 9-day period in New York City. That's a fantastic decline. It's a beautiful thing to see after going through the opposite. We continue to see improvement with declining trajectory of cases in Seattle, Detroit, New Orleans, Indianapolis, and Houston metro areas. More evidence that our aggressive strategy is working, and I thank the American people for their selfless devotion. The American people have done a hell of a job. We're saving countless lives, though. And again, I'll say it because I always wanted to say, well, can you leave it open? Nobody ever heard of anything like this. Not since 1917, more than 100 years ago, has anything like this happened. And in those days, they had no real communication, so you couldn't say go inside. Don't, people just died. Almost 100 million people, it's reported. It's tough. So the American people, what they've done is incredible, and they've learned a lot. And you see people picketing a little bit, and they want to get out. They want to get out and get back with their lives, so that's good. But they have learned a lot. They've learned about distancing, even now, at least until this thing totally goes away. They've learned about their washing their hands and all of the different things that we've been talking about ad nauseum for so long. And they get it. They get it. And some places the governors are ready to go, and other places they can't go yet, and they won't go. They have to have it safe. I want it to be safe too. It has to be safe. And again, I have to say this. I can't emphasize it strongly enough. I'm probably going to show you charts of some of the countries that are really having trouble. And one in particular is having a massive problem where they said, let's go. We're just going to keep going. Well, they're the lines that we're famous for now. Some are flat, some are up. This is like a rocket ship. This country is, and they decided, let's go and let's wing it. It's, they thought it was okay, but it's a problem, a big problem. There's another couple, one in particular that everybody thinks that the people are staying in. The head of a country doesn't have to say stay in. These people are smart people. They know what's going on. They see what's going on. So they don't have to say. They can say they're not doing that, but the people are staying inside. There are not a lot of people outside sitting at cafes, despite what the mode of a country is. But if you look at Europe, most countries have done this. A couple tried not to. Italy tried not to, and they held it. Spain tried not to. They went that way. France tried not to. Italy wants to do this. It's a brutal step. We're going to close down your country. We never heard of anything like this. But we would have had millions of people dying if we didn't do this. Millions of people. And I believe that, Mike. I think, in looking at over the last couple of days, I think, and really over the last couple of weeks, from the time we did it, shortly thereafter, I said we made the right decision in closing down. Made the right decision on borders. Banning people coming in from China, banning ultimately people coming in from Europe. If we would have had millions of deaths, it looks like we'll be at about a 60,000, which is 40,000 less than the lowest number thought of. So this is a case where people say, oh, we would have had that number. It's similar to a flu. It's not the same thing as a flu, because if we wouldn't have done anything, we would have had, so if we would have 35, and it goes from 27 to 35, 40, 50 sometimes, over a long period of time. Much different. It's even a much different death. Much different death. This is violent. CMS is finalizing new guidelines for doctors and patients to resume elective surgeries. It's a big thing. A lot of hospitals were closed. They couldn't do any elective surgeries. They'll be able to start doing that. Procedures and medical care that needs to be done in person. As long as the rate of infections remains low in a community, we want patients to be able to go to their doctors, get clinically tested, and have work done, surgeries, receive treatment for chronic conditions, and resume preventative care. So we'll be allowing that to happen very soon. We had no capacity in the hospitals with what happened with the plague. We had no capacity to do it. If your doctor believes you need a treatment in person, you can get a treatment now. You can and should get a treatment now. We are asking that healthcare facilities have plans in place to keep patients safe during their visits. Some places like New York, New Jersey, where they really got hit hard, it's going to be a little bit tougher. They've done a great job, but they really were a center. I mean, they were a center. I was watching that. It was incredible. But now they're leveling off, and I think they'll be coming down very soon. Administrator Seema Verma will be telling you a little bit more about it. Mike's going to say a few words. Seema will then speak, tell you a little bit more about that. My administration continues to execute our massive military operation to supply our hospitals with equipment they need and beds if necessary, but it looks like we're totally covered on beds. We have plenty of beds. It's highly unlikely. That would be bad news if we needed more beds, but it looks like it's going just the opposite direction. I want to thank Governor Cuomo, the relationship there for this whole thing. We're building hospitals. It was very good. We built a little bit more than we needed, and that's good, as opposed to building a little bit less. That's not good. But he's worked very well with us. The governor of Louisiana has been great on that whole situation, the beds. Frankly, the governor of Michigan was very good with us on beds. You know, it's a very complex subject. You need buildings, or you have to do tents, or you have to do a lot of different things, a lot of different ways. But the Army Corps of Engineers was fantastic. They were fantastic. Florida, likewise, Governor DeSantis. And I could name probably 6 other locations. I'll tell you one, California was fantastic. He was really good. He was really good. And I appreciate the fact that he said what he wanted to say, and he wasn't letting the press force him into saying something that he didn't want to say. So I appreciate it very much. Governor of California. He really the federal government is currently procuring more than 100,000 ventilators through new production purchases, with thousands already delivered. We've delivered thousands of brand new ventilators all throughout the country. New York would be, I guess, the biggest user. And they are now taking some of their extra ventilators, which is great, and they're sending them up to Massachusetts. I think it's 400. And that's a great thing. Our total supply of ventilators continues to exceed by a lot total expected demand. Cuomo said today that no one who needed a ventilator was denied a ventilator. That's a beautiful statement. I appreciate it. And all governors are in that same position. We do have a clip that I thought would be a up today. It'll take 2 minutes, and I think you'll find it interesting, but we appreciate it. Let's see if we can do that. You'll turn out the lights, and we'll see if we can do that. Thank you.
This was a blessing. And this was the request from our friend Brian. Nicole. I love the rain, too.
Phenomenal accomplishment.
Relax.
We bent the curve. We flattened the curve. The government did it, people did it, but government facilitates people's actions, right? We had to double the hospital capacity in New York State. That's what all the experts said. President brought in the Army Corps of Engineers. They built 2,500 beds at Javits. Michael and Northwell were operating. It was a phenomenal accomplishment. Close to 1,000 people have gone through Javits. Luckily, we needed 2,500 beds, but all the projections said we did need it, and more, by the way. So these were just extraordinary efforts and acts of mobilization. And the federal government stepped up as a great partner, and I'm the first one to say it. We needed help, and they were there. State and local governments were fantastic. The hospital system was fantastic. New York was fantastic. And that is an undeniable fact. Just look at what they said was going to happen. CDC, Task Force, Cornell, McKinsey, all of them. And they had a line up here, and the actual line is down here. What do you owe the variance to? Heroic efforts on behalf of people as facilitated by government, federal and state.
Excuse me. Can't do this.